What's going on, guys? Welcome on in. Good morning. Happy Thursday. We're live. We might have some good action today. We'll see what happens, but coming off a pretty incredible reversal yesterday. A couple things I'm looking at. I was looking this morning, and, well, I got my alert went off on gold, so we're going to take a peek at that. I am heavily interested in gold. My thought process here is I'm going to wait until the open, just in case. So we're breaking out above the level, all-time highs on gold. I really have been waiting for this consolidation to break, for the breakout to push, and I think we can get a push over 2,600 is kind of what I'm looking for. That's what I would like to see in a perfect world. I would love to see an extension kind of similar to one of these. Not saying that's what we're going to get, but if you look back at those two extensions from earlier this year, the bulk of that extension was 5-6%. Clean move, 5-6%. So if you do the math on that, what does 5-6% from here put you at? Let's just do 5% to be kind of safe. It would put you well above 2,600, which is why I think over 26 or, north of that level is a fair target to be had. So we'll see what we're going to get. It's up 1% right now. So the blue line that I got there is what I want to see it holding above, and it broke above it quickly. It came back below it for a bit, and, what I want to see it do is just, building above here, but now we're like 4 minutes away from the market to open. So my view is kind of like, all right, well, let's just wait till the market opens. Like, if I get filled here versus here, in the grand scheme, it's not going to be that big of a deal for the swing trade. So I'm not going to just rush to get in, because I've done that before, and then, market opens, and it's like, oh my God, and then we do a complete reversal, and it's like all the unwind and stuff. So I just don't want to get caught up in an unwind like that if I don't have to. And so I usually just like to wait for the market. On swing trades like this, is as big of a deal to wait for the market 15 minutes. I don't day trade the first 15 minutes of the day. Swing trades, you're looking at gold. Gold trades pretty much 24/7. So, not the weekends, I guess, technically, based off what I'm, but, you can essentially trade gold whenever you want. So you don't have to wait for the market to open. But we see more volume during market hours. People at the desk, people are looking around and trying to get in and do shit. So that's the deal on that guy. We'll watch. I have it kind of ready to go and queued up. I don't have the order in. It's just like a, draft, if you will. So we'll see. My thought process is like, okay, for the downside, I mean, I could play it tighter. I really could. And I just don't know, man. I mean, I would like to see it realistically hold 2,500. So maybe it's a smarter play for the stop to be just below 2,500. Give or take, a few bucks. But, I think that's fair. This would be a pretty fair trade in my opinion. Could we do this, pop through here, come back, pull this game, and then do it? Yeah. And would I get stopped out in that situation? Probably. But then again, I would be wrong on the momentum. I'm trying to get in when we have momentum and be in for, a shorter period of time and not hold through these, because technically speaking, I was in gold back in here and I got out somewhere in here just because I was like, it's not for a break even. It wasn't doing anything. It took 3-4 weeks and now it's finally breaking out, but I don't want to be holding it in this. Now you could, but I prefer not to. What's going on, Flippa? So we'll see what happens there. In other news, other positions, I entered Roku and eBay yesterday. I think on the stream, I'm pretty sure we entered them, or if not, eBay was before, and Roku I entered on the stream. So I'm in eBay. I've been in eBay for 20 hours, just about. Here's the trade setup. Looking for 63. And we can go further than that, but I'm looking for 63 as a fair target. A little bit more than a 2-to-1 risk reward. Looks pretty good to me. So breaking candle low is my stop loss, which is down around 59s. And so that's the look there. You got Roku, which broke out of its kind of, you want to call it a bull flag, its downtrend. I got in yesterday around just below $70 or right around $70. Actually, I can tell you what my average is right now. $70, 70.04. I got in that one yesterday, and look where it is in pre-market. Well, you're going to see. It just opened up all the way up here. 74.20s it opened up at. Crazy shit. Why? Because it got a price target upgrade. Now, what could it come back and fill? Yeah, it got a price target upgrade of like 93, and no, actually more. It got a price target maintained at 105 by Benchmark, raised to outperform by Wolf Research. Wolf Research has it. Yeah, they upgraded it to outperform from pure perform, and the target is $93. So not that means much, to be honest with you, because I don't like to play into price target upgrades and stuff. I don't really think that that's a reason to get into stock. I got in yesterday, and just so happens that the price target upgrades occurred, this morning, which it would be very interesting if, you were happen to be, inside that news of Wolf Research and happen to have calls for this Friday, you would just be cashing the fuck in. I didn't know, but when you get volume, when you get the breakouts, stuff tends to find, it's not surprising, is what I'll say. It's not surprising that you're getting that move. So that's the deal. We're watching gold here. I think gold's going to be the play with the new swing trade entry today. I've been watching it. I've been eyeing it up for a while. And at this point in time, though, if I get in gold today, then I'm not very interested. Like, you are going to need to present something beautiful in front of my eyes for me to want to trade, because I'm going to have enough positions on that are really solid. I don't really see a need to add to them. So we'll see what happens with gold. But right now, I like what we're seeing. I might give it another minute or two. But to be honest, she's holding up pretty well. So I think it's time to just get in. Here's the trade setup. We're targeting 26.16, 26.17. It would be about a 2-to-1 risk reward, just below a 2-to-1 risk reward from right here, right now. Stop loss just below 2,500 on the trade. Be about a 1.8 to 1 risk reward. So I'm going to throw it down, 0.05 lots on it. And yeah, risking 212 to make 386. Something just went off. On the 25K account, we are in. All right, so we're in. So now we'll watch. And hey, if we end up getting gold if it does this and it closes here today, below then I'll just get out, take the smaller loss and move on. It's not Friday. If it was Friday, I'd be a little more skeptical, especially if it closed weak. So it's gonna have to close very weak today for me to be like, I'm out for sure. But I like the move that we got there. What alert just went off here? Let me just check. What the fuck happened here? Meli, MELI. Oh, look at that trade. That's a fucking setup too, man. Jeez, I didn't even realize. Well, I don't even know what the stock is. Like, what even is this company? Mercado Libre. I have no idea what they do. But either way, I saw that chart. I must have saw that chart a while ago, and it looks really good. It does look really good. I'll be on. Yeah, I mean, that's a fucking chart right there. Why? As I zoom out, does it look even better? Dude, uptrend clearly, right? The past freaking 2 years. So from bear market lows, pretty much. Okay, yeah, cool. But we have a consolidation right above the all-time high, the prior all-time high level. I mean, you want to talk about an opportunity for a pop. This is where you'd get it. Jesus Christ, that's a beautiful setup too. The problem is then I'm like, okay, well, here's the secondary problem. I'll put it on my list. I'm not going to trade it because I got too much shit going on. I don't need more. I really don't. But if you see that, like, you can find a million setups, right? You just got to pick your spots. Seeing this, it looks good. What you can do, especially now getting in gold, it's like, that would be 4 positions. It'd be 4 swing trades on. What ends up happening here is if the market goes up, yeah, will probably work. Probably. If the market was to go down, then they all lose and you take 4 losses. It's like, do I need that? No. If I have 3 wins because the market goes up, they're going to be pretty fucking big, relatively speaking. I don't need to play. I don't need to be too much. Like, I don't need to have one at a time is honestly fine. To my opinion, you don't need to have 17. But yeah, so that's the deal. So I mean, it looks good. I'm not gonna get in it, but it looks pretty good. What else is going on today? Let's see. A Large cap land, who's up the most? Google's up the most, which is funny because I believe Google hasn't been the strongest yet, so it's bouncing back. Meta's up 1.4. Meta keeps grinding. I think you have the setup soon for Meta to be looking really juicy as it starts to push up near its all-time highs. Netflix up about a percent. Same thing with Netflix, right? Yep. As it approaches $700 again, right? It's getting close to its all-time highs. Some momentum could be flying in. The Russell's up 0.62 today. That's up the most. The S&P is about flat. S&P, Dow, NASDAQ are just about flat, hovering a little bit above or a little bit below break even on the day. The Russell's up the most, up 0.6, which is nothing crazy, but not a surprising bounce on the Russell. I'm not surprised it's bouncing off this area right here. High volume node, like I'm not surprised. So, what else do we have going on today? Tesla's up 0.5, which is fun. Tesla's gonna be fun to watch because Tesla's just chilling right here at this, like, just below this spot, which is 235, which I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it were to break that level and pop immediately to 245, although you got a high volume node right in here. So that's the only concern that you'd have as a high volume node, which is not surprisingly why it stopped right there multiple times. See how funny that is. All right, let's check back in on that Roku. How's it doing? Fuck. Yeah. I mean, so it gets a huge gap up. It's like halfway to our PT. The thing is, here's the thing about Roku. I'm traveling tomorrow, so I don't know. If I have a chance to adjust the position, I will. If I don't, I don't. Like, obviously, if it hits the target, which would be insane in 2 days, it could, I guess, with the big move. But we are looking at a stock that I think has a very high chance of, with momentum right now, of getting into this gap. So my view is, well, my target is the bottom of the gap because that's already a 2-to-1 risk reward. It's a massive fucking trade if it hits that as it is in my book. But I will likely take maybe 60 to 70% of it off if I am at the desk when it happens at that level at around $80, and then just move my stop to break even and then go target 85 and then just leave it at that, and that's it. And that's probably what I'm gonna do. The upper end of the gap is 87, but I'm probably just gonna target 85 just to be safe, but because that's already fucking huge. So that would be my approach to it. If I happen to be sitting at the desk, when it happens, if it happens, because it doesn't have to happen. So. IYR. Okay, so you had what you had. So this is why the MELI is interesting too, because and we'll check that in a second. Here's here, look, check this out, right? So you had this breakout right here, which also came very close to pretty much the same exact spot that you had this, prior relative high, and it broke that, had a big move, and it's now in a complete extension. It's just breaking out, doing the same thing, boom, 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 continuously breaking out. Beautiful, beautiful. Real estate ETF though. Real estate doing well. Rates coming down. Not surprised, right? That's not super surprising that real estate's doing well in this environment. MELI, the reason why I was saying that too, now it's full on breakout mode, by the way. It's just absolutely a beast. So beautiful play. But it is, if I mark out the prior all-time high, right, I'll mark that line right here. So if you mark out the prior all-time high, then you zoom back into where we are right now, you literally just consolidated at the prior all-time high. Now you're breaking that consolidation. Like this looks to be an explosive move. Like this is likely going to be an explosive move on MELI. So boom, beautiful play there. That's setting up. I mean, it's just, it's not totally played out, but I mean, if you do the math on it, let's say you got in, some point today. Stop loss, I'd go under yesterday's low. You can go tighter than that, but I'd say just yesterday's low as a rough guide. And then a 1.5 to 1 risk reward off of that to be safe is up there. So it's still got a long way to go to get to 2230s, but nothing crazy. I mean, that could easily be the case. So we'll see. I'll mark this up. I mean, I'll leave it on my charts. I'm not in, but I'll mark it up and, we'll check back in, see how it plays out over the coming days. But man, if we seemingly are getting some good swing setups, I'm liking it a lot because I love swings. I love it. I much prefer swings over day trades. And they tend to be better bets anyway because you're looking at the bigger time frames and bigger picture. Apple's down 0.66 today, believe it or not, but not that crazy though on that chart. AMD's down a little bit today, and then Microsoft's also down. How's NVIDIA looking? NVIDIA's at 118, just give or take right now. It is, man, looks pretty strong. Very nice volume yesterday. I'd be looking for a move up to the upper 120, so about $10 more from here. And then we have maybe a really interesting, test on it. On NVIDIA. That's where we'll get fun. How's oil doing today? That's bouncing a bit. How about nat gas? I haven't checked at natural gas. I saw that popping around. Past couple days, there's some news about it. Yeah, bouncing up. I haven't looked at it in a while. Damn. What else is moving nicely today? Oh my God, mRNA, dude. It's just damn, man. But now there was news. So it's down 17% off of news. I believe that they're not going to be spending money or they're cutting funding or some shit on mRNA. Remember how we were talking about this when I was like, yo, this is one of those plays. It's like, it's going down eventually. It's just a matter of when and then how you position for it. And not surprised, it's at $65. Looking back though, for those who potentially have been shorting this thing for many, many months, many even years potentially since 2021, on the backside here, you are just pulling it in because it's like every time it pops back up, you get an opportunity to re-short the hell out of it. And that pop that we had back in May off the lows from October of last year, pushing up to May. I mean, the opportunity that you have had if you were to re-short it back in this time frame, of course, you could have averaged into it. Insane. I don't trade that way. I got to see a setup and criteria, but man, I know, but it's like one of those gut feelings. You're like, dude, this thing is getting destroyed. I can guarantee it. It's going back to zero, not zero, but it's going back to the low tens of dollars. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a sub $20 stock in the next couple of years. Maybe even before that. I think we have a lot of unwinding to do. So, but either way, pump, and now the backside is, you're inside the backside move right here. That's a big move. MU. Oh, that don't look too good. Micron not looking too hot today. Actually made a new low of the pullback here. A new low of the year? No, not of the year. But pretty much right back to the area it was at the end of last year. Yeah, no, that's the thing with it. It is because mRNA is a biotech like that. Like it can move a shit ton off the news, good and bad. Like it could pop up a lot. It can also get destroyed. So you run that risk when you're holding that long or short. But that's why I think from a big picture perspective, it's almost like a cleaner play to like think just huge, thinking out massive. We're not talking about like. If you believe, I don't know, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't be surprised if the stock drops back into the 20s. But if you believe, for example, that stock is, a $20 stock in the next 5 years, and you're a hedge fund or whatever, and you can just nail it every time it pops up. You just add to your short because you have almost unlimited money. It's a different game when you can kind of throw unlimited money at it. When you've got to deal with portfolio, balancing it out with your own money, and then not dollar cost averaging, but short squeeze risk, and margin call risk. You got to proportionally move, make sure your shit's okay. So it's different. It's a different ball game from an individual investor or trader, but still, there's trades to be had in there. And sometimes you get lucky though. Maybe you're in the long or the short, and you get the good news. You never know. And like that's kind of like me with Roku today. I mean, I just so happened to identify the setup yesterday. I got in and you get some massive price target upgrades. So the stock's up 5% today. Now, will that hold up? I don't know. Who knows? I don't think it necessarily matters that much. Price target upgrades in the grand scheme. This is more just the setup to me that was more interesting. But hey, if the market starts pushing up, how about Roblox? Roblox I was looking at yesterday as a possible play to get into. I didn't like it as much as the other trade setups that I had, so I just didn't bother. Oh shit, I gotta check on eBay. How's eBay doing today? Oh my god. That's a candle right there. We're just about halfway to our target. That's nice. Gotta go about another $1.40 from here. Meanwhile, market's pretty weak. Seems like. Say it was PPI. Yeah, the PPI, I can pull it up. Pull up the numbers. Back to 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So, and jobless claims. So you have PPI month over month. August came in at 0.2 versus a previous and an estimate of 0.1, so a little bit higher than estimates there. PPI, USA PPI year over year for August 1.7 versus 1.8 estimate, or versus 1.8 estimate, 2.1 prior, so it's coming down nicely. Month over month is a little bit higher. Jobless claims came in 230K versus a little bit higher than estimates and last week. core PPI. They revised the last one. Oh, these numbers are fucking weird. Not weird. It's just is like okay. A lot of random numbers here going through. It's like okay. Yeah. So PPI comes in. That drop. Job numbers came in a little bit higher than what they were expecting. It looks like. Oh, MU. Here's why. MU Micron. We're talking about before. They downgraded it from underperform to underperform from neutral. So it got a price target downgrade. And then Roku got a price target upgrade. So that's why that MU Micron was weak today. Probably why. But again, I don't think that I wouldn't put too much weight into those things. I really wouldn't. Inflation to drop in September and climb again after. Interesting. Projections. mRNA shares tumble 70% to lowest in 10 months. Are we surprised? Are we surprised? We're just talking about that one. Are we surprised? What was I going to look at? I was going to look at Truflation. Truflation. I want to see how this looks. 1.06, man. This continues to drop day after day. This continues to drop. This is going to be, again, it's a day-to-day thing, and I wouldn't get too caught up in the day-to-day. But the lower this goes, the more concerning you got to be for a recession. And I would suspect the market, although the market doesn't have to act, the market doesn't have to do, it can do whatever it wants. It doesn't have to, just because rates are coming down and it doesn't mean we have to have a fucking recession. It doesn't mean we have to go down and stuff. So I Melly. Smelly Melly. Looks pretty good. I was looking at Roku yesterday too. I was looking at that. I was walking and I was like just taking a peek and I was looking at the bigger picture and I was like, yeah, looking at the weekly time frames and I was like, yo, I mean, how big are some of these weekly moves? I'm like, look at this weekly candle. This weekly candle back in October from the October lows of last year. Okay, so you're picking the bottom, but that week we had a massive reversal where it goes from 55 all the way to 85. $30 in a week, 56% in a week. It's crazy shit. Now, was there earnings there? I think there might have been, but either it's still a big fucking move. Still a big move. Yeah, there was earnings in there. So earnings gapped it up. But still, crazy shit. Even after that, it popped from 85 to 110 in like 2 weeks. Yeah, I would say, I would agree with that. Inflation data. Core has been stickier. Well, if you go back to the CPI number we saw yesterday, core is now holding steady. So we'll see how much that plays in. I'm just very curious to see if this keeps going lower. This keeps going lower. I'm like, it'd be kind of funny to see. But it's not surprising though. I mean, the 10-year is down a lot, and the market, whether you believe it or not, is pretty efficient. So while the 10-year, while the Fed is waiting to cut rates now, the 10-year is doing a lot of that job in the marketplace anyway. I mean, look at what it's done the past couple of weeks. It's down a lot without the Fed cutting rates. The Fed doesn't cut rates. So, this is leading the Fed, So I think it's interesting to be following. There's a reason why we look at it, follow it. Now, the dollar, on the other hand, here's the concern that I would have with the gold trade. I would say right now, you are at an interesting spot that we could see a bounce back on the dollar. If we see a bounce back on the dollar, I would imagine the gold trade does not work if it bounces back. But if you do play the same game, right? We have this push down, consolidate, push down, consolidate. If we have that same game right now and it goes, and we start to break down towards this $100 level on DXY and even lower, now we're talking, and then I would imagine that would be what absolutely helps launch gold. But it's an if. It's a big if to a degree, right? Because you would expect, based off prior price action, this is going to bounce. So that's the concern for gold. We'll see. Does it have to, respect, or we've seen, it doesn't have to do anything because the dollar is up or down. It could do the opposite. But generally speaking, you don't see gold doing exceptionally well in massively rising DXY conditions. So it depends on how strong that move back up would be. If you get it. Silver, on the other hand, is up 2% today, but I just don't want, look at this chart. It's like so far behind gold. Does that mean that it provides, I think it provides potentially much more reward. It also comes with a little more risk, but it provides much more reward potential than gold. If, gold breaks out, silver was to fall behind and go to a new high of the year and go mid 30s, that's a big move. Very big move for silver. If it did that. Yeah, Micron is getting nailed, man. It's down 6.5 or 6.15, I should say. Let's check what those targets are. They have earnings coming up in a couple of days or in about 2 weeks or so. So that'll be telling. They got bent over with the price targets. Price target was cut to $125 a share from $160 by Raymond James. Again, how and the stock's at 85. I mean, what are we thinking here, guys? Target was 160, which is up here, and they moved it to 125, and they called it underperform, but that would still require it to make a fucking humongous move up of 45%. If you ask me, if it were to move 45% up in the next year, that would be pretty good. That would be an outperformance. I guess this is how they have to, classify their targets. That would be an outperform in my book if it went up from 45% from here. But then again, you look over at NVIDIA and it's like, it's chump 45% in a year. The fuck are you? It's chump change. NVIDIA is like a couple hundred, 500%, 1,000%. If you're not pushing 1,000%, I mean, like, what are you doing here? At the end of the day. Like, right, what did NVIDIA do? It did from the October low right here at 200 and something. That's not accurate. Is that accurate? Yeah, 250%. Okay, I was being a little too aggressive there. 250%. Still like 5x what that Micron number would be. Imagine 500% in a year. It's the reason why a lot of people, though, on the NVIDIA inside, a lot of engineers quit, retired, dipping, made enough money on the stock. They're like, oh, I'm out of here. I think that'd be hilarious. Like, that would be awesome. Imagine you just, you get a job out of college or, shortly after college or whatever, move up to a decent position at the job within a couple of years. The company's, big company, but nothing insane. It's a company. It's not like, it's NVIDIA a couple of years ago or 10 years ago. You get some stock and you're like, I got the stock, but you're not really thinking much of it. And then like the stock just blows up and you're like, holy fuck, my stock options or my stock is up so much. I have, I can retire right now at 35. Dump it into the S&P, sell some covered calls, roll with the overall market returns, cash in some dividends, and you're good to go. But I do think about that too. It's the same with like the lottery. And as I've gotten older now, I start to realize that, you hear all the stories that people win the lottery, they lose it all, or they're depressed, this, that. But I start to realize, I'm like, I don't, because there's a funny story. My grandma plays the lottery all the time. She always calls and asking for numbers and whatever. But, she's been playing for years and years and years. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. That's just her thing. She likes to play a couple dollars each week. It's whatever. But I don't personally I just don't personally think that I would be happy if I was to win the lottery. As weird as that might sound. Even if you won a small amount, large amount, whatever the amount is, I feel like you would get so much more satisfaction, so much more out of making money and getting to something that you wanted to versus winning it from luck of the draw, and then being able to go buy and do whatever you wanted to do with that money versus getting there, and working for it and then getting it. And then just the pleasure in that process, I feel like it's so much better. But funny story, back, I don't know how old I was. It must have been 15, 13, 12, maybe. I don't know. Somewhere in that range. It was New Year's Eve, and we usually had people over to the house for New Year's, and so my cousins were over, some other family was over too, and my grandma, it was raining, or it was snowing? No, it wasn't snowing. I think it was raining. It was just crazy. New Year's in freaking Connecticut, it shouldn't rain, but I think it was raining or something, or it was getting dark. I don't know what it was. So she goes around and she collects from me, my brothers and sister, my cousins. She went around and she collected numbers, and she made us all fill out the little lottery Powerball form, whatever. So we all filled it in, and she didn't go, because it was dark, raining. We had people over. She didn't want to drive, 30 minutes. It was 15 minutes away to get to the place and back. She didn't want to do it. 2 days later, she comes over, and she comes over and she goes, "Can you take a look at this?" And okay, you know what? And so she has the winning. She gets the winning ticket printout. She went in. She's like, "Hey, can I get the winning numbers?" And they give her the winning numbers. She has to print out the win numbers, and then she pulls up the paper that we all filled out, the one that me and my cousins and brothers filled out. She puts it on the table, and I'm like, she's like, "Can you double check this?" And I fucking kid you not, every single number and the fucking Powerball. Exact. She didn't play. She didn't play it. And it was $200 and something million. If she had gone out to play, 200 and something, 240, I think, 270 million, she would have won. Crazy. And now we always say to her, we're like, yo, you had your chance. You're never going to have that happen again. So, because, just think of the odds of that. Crazy shit, though. Exact. I kid you not. And I'm like, and I remember it, too, because I remember looking it over before we all gave it to her, and I remember the numbers. I'm like, I know I picked that number, so it's not like she filled it out afterwards and was just fucking with me. No, she was, and she came back and she was kind of shaking a little bit because she's like, oh my God, I didn't play. Oh, man. But, we all joke about it now with her, but you could say, "Oh, it wasn't meant to be," this, that, and everything. Personally, I wouldn't have wanted to win the lottery. I don't. Now, lottery though, in some states, I know in Georgia, funds a lot of college scholarships, Hope Scholarship and stuff. So it's great. So we're like, yeah, she plays all the time. So just keep funding the scholarships. And my brothers, and they go to school in Georgia, keep funding my scholarship, please. Which is funny, but that's how other states should do it. Back up in Connecticut and stuff up in the Northeast, they didn't do that shit. It could be. You could say it was devastating, but at the time, I don't know. Makes you a target. It definitely does. I mean, I could see that. Now, my view would have been, I don't know what she would have done with the money and stuff. How she would have split it up, what she would have done, because she doesn't need it. She doesn't spend very much money. She lives with my parents, and so she doesn't spend very much money. So she gets her Social Security check, and she has her portfolio invested in the market, and she's like, yeah, she doesn't need, she doesn't spend. She doesn't have expenses really very much. So I don't know what she'd do. She would split it up, but it's like, I wouldn't, I wouldn't want it. But then again, at the same time, had you won that, knowing what I know about it, you put that in account, or even if you split it out to the family and stuff, you shouldn't have to worry about money ever again. Even if you split it up and gave a chunk to like everybody in your family, like everyone got a piece. If everyone in the family got like $2 million, for example, if let's say you split it up by person, I don't know if that's even too aggressive. A decent spot where that invested in the S&P, cash flowing you should be chilling on that and not have to really worry, which is crazy. But I always wondered that also would be a thing too. Think about that. Like, I wonder how people do that, because a lot of people don't want to be known or named when they win, because then family comes out of the cracks that maybe you haven't talked to in 10 years, and now they want to hear from you and stuff. So I mean, I've heard some stories like that, and people get all about it for money. They do. I just don't think that would be ultimately, you'd be a very happy person. Probably not, if that's how you were, but if you were given money like that. But so that's gold setup. Still looks great. Still doing her thing. Looks very strong. Gold looks very strong. How's eBay doing? Right up against high a day, pretty much. Pushing high a day. Looks pretty good. You got, $1.40 to go till TP is hit. I don't think that will happen tomorrow. Could, if we really push. The other component to think about too that I like a lot with these setups though, and these trades, is that, here's eBay's chart, right? And then you jump back and take a peek at the S&P daily chart, and you're like, oh, S&P is actually down today. Like, yeah, is it building a higher low? Sure. But if the S&P were to keep pushing, I mean, you would think that would help eBay, and you'd help. So you got really good relative strength is what I'm pointing at. Really good relative strength on that stuff, which is good, and that's helpful, and that's that's what you want to be. I kind of was thinking this yesterday as I was walking. I was like, the key to the strategy that I play is the time to make money, and you don't know when it's going to happen, but you want to be identifying opportunities and times when in a bull market, or in an uptrending market, let's say the S&P in general, or in a market that the environment is, if I go to fear and greed here, not features, come on, fat fingers. In an environment where you have strength that is very nicely positive, meaning more stocks are pushing highs than lows of the year, in that environment, what you want to kind of find is you want to be watching and noticing the higher beta stocks, A, and then B, which ones have relative strength versus the market, versus the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, and then keep them on the list. If they meet your criteria, great. Once they break out, if you can time that breakout, now you don't know, right? I don't know. I didn't know yesterday we were going to have this massive reversal day, right? But as the day starts to play out, and you start looking at the chart and going, okay, huge lower wick, huge reversal. This seemingly is setting the stage for a higher low being put in. These stocks that have had better relative strength are now breaking out today. That kind of makes sense, because if we eventually see the market catch back up and push back towards those highs in the coming days and weeks, then you already are 2 steps ahead with the stocks that had relative strength. So the setup, the breakout, the momentum setups are like you're waiting or you're identifying relative strength. Once you get a little bit of a signal from the overall market, now there's no, like, we could easily have just done this. Like, we could still, you don't know. But from a probability standpoint, like, okay, you got a higher low, it's starting to reverse. It makes, like, it wouldn't be surprising given that we have been in an uptrend, that the uptrend were to continue. It wouldn't surprise me. And of course, it will eventually end. Who knows when? It will eventually end. Given that we're in the uptrend, given that we have good strength, more stocks pushing their highs and lows, it would make sense that these breakouts have some push and they get support of the market also now following suit behind them as the market tries to kind of like almost, not tries, but as the market almost catches up to that relative strength that you were seeing on those other stocks. And it's the exact same thing on the downside. When we see the, strength below zero in a negative and pushing lower or relatively weak, when you see that occurring, then you can say, okay, great. What's the market doing? The market does have a bounce, and then you're assessing, the trend of the overall market and assessing relative weakness. When some of these stocks start to break down and the market starts to kind of roll over off a lower high, it's a really good setup for it's a higher probability for that breakdown to actually pan out and work. That's kind of the idea behind it. It's like that is like the optimal time and the optimal scenario, I think, for the strategy, as I'm just getting more familiar with it and trading it for now almost, a year and a half, exclusively. I'm getting a really good feel for it. So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. And is that a mass, like, there's a million ways to do it, a million ways to trade, similar strategy to me, a million ways to trade in general. But as you trade something long enough, because there's a million ways to do it, if you focus on one, you start to get a better understanding of how, like, going through the periods of shit and the great periods where things are hitting, insane, the periods where things are maybe not hitting that nicely. And it's like, why is it not working? You start to get a feel, and it's like, there really isn't always a perfect answer. There never is an exact answer as to why it's not working, but it's more of like, this is kind of, these general reasons would make it more of a probability that this works or it doesn't work because of these things that are going on. And that's kind of one of the things it's not a crazy discovery, but it's a thing that I've kind of started to notice a lot more. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now when I see these situations, I know I'm in a decent spot if I do this, or if I do this, I'm in a better spot because I've seen it so many times and I have a better just feel and understanding for how my strategy works, how I trade, and all that. So now we got some rain coming in now. That hurricane hit Louisiana, right? And I don't know how bad it was. I haven't been following it, to be honest with you, closely. But it hit Louisiana. Not bad. Not a big one, I don't believe. No, it was a category 1, I believe, maybe a 2 at best, if it even got there. But yeah, it's kind of a slow. It's September. We're September. This could be a hot month. You never know. I guess we can. I can look at that for any other weather nerds out there. I went to school for this stuff, so I'm pretty familiar. But yeah, so you had that storm come through. It's going to kind of just rain out across the southern central U.S. and rain that shit out, which pretty much looks like all weekend you're going to get rain in the southeast. And then by Monday it starts. No, it's still chilling here. A little something popping off the coast of the Carolinas come Monday, Tuesday. Nothing too big. It's a small storm though. And then I'm seeing some snow out in fucking Wyoming. Jesus. The Tetons getting some snow. Jackson Hole probably getting some snow in the coming, week. Crazy. But not, I guess for September it's starting to get there, right? Yeah, Tetons again getting some snow. Yeah, looks like that we're getting some. Yeah, it's getting cold up there, I guess. Jeez, man. Yeah, going out deep. There's nothing crazy. There's a little something that comes off the coast of the Carolinas next week. But then there's something bigger that maybe is festering in the Gulf come like a couple weeks from now. So we'll have to watch that one. That's so far out though. A lot could change there, so we'll see. But nothing crazy. Nothing crazy on that front. No new news yet. Yeah, the MELI play looks really freaking good, dude. Check out the 1 hour. Check out the 1 hour chart and see how the volume looks so far today. Can we tell that it's really big, really strong? Not really. I mean, see how the rest of the day goes. It looks decent. It's 2 good volume candles there the first 2 hours here, but nothing that's like blowing things out of proportion. Nothing. Not like this is better back here. We'll see how the overall volume holds up all day, I guess, on it. Okay, wouldn't be surprised if it just kind of hangs out in this like, mid to lower 70 range. Roblox is really kind of breaking through now. I like it. I like it, but I'm not in it. I'll watch her from the sidelines. Not as impressive either as of a breakout as the other ones that I've been playing too. The eBay setup looks really good. I mean, high a day, just crushing. I need $1.25 from here. So if eBay wants to go up 4% on the day, I mean, I'll take it. But I don't think I see it. I mean, the thing is, from a day trade perspective, that there's no, I say that now and then like, well, there'll be a beautiful setup this afternoon for all I know. But like, would I trade Nvidia based off this daily? No, not really interested based off the volume here. I mean, yeah, you can make the argument that it's probably okay up until like 125. But I that's when you have more resistance. I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't really care for it. Meta, same thing, right? You can make the argument that, okay, if it starts to break above this line, maybe it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. You're like, 1 day removed from the low. So you haven't proven, a lot of strength yet. It's like 2 days. Like, relax. Google, not really. That's a weak one. It's up today, but it's been weak. Netflix, you can make arguments. This could be maybe potentially a trade, but I want to see it about $700 for me to get interested in it. So I'd wait for 700 plus, which is about $9 away. Tesla, you can start to get interested here. My concern would be the volume node above around 235 on the bigger picture. But if you disregard that, if you zoom in close enough and you say, well, I don't see it, you could. I mean, this would be the zone, the gap fill zone to fill in. So I mean, 245, 246 would be kind of the looks on it. But if you go to the 5-minute time frames, how does she look there? Yeah, kind of trying to build a bull flag. It's kind of making a bull flag. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if high a day gets taken out, this thing were to pop off. Yeah, I mean, trend has been, up, but you gotta, if you broke high a day, you probably get a push 235. 235 would be right here. And then, so that's a move of approximately $4-ish, $3.50, $4. You go $4, and then if it can break the 235, you might have a fucking huge move today, tomorrow. So could be good risk reward on that. That would be the only one that maybe interests. Maybe. But yeah, I'm already fucking long. I got enough longs that it's like I'm kind of chilling. eBay is just sending. It's in full send mode right now. It's approaching $62. We love to see it. We love to see it. That's one of those, though. It's like with the mark at your back kind of now. It's like you're breaking out. And then if you get a, if it just so happens that the market also wants to push up, you get the market at your back, win at your back. And, it's like easy. It's just like gliding. So that's like, as I realize this, as I trade the strategy longer and longer, it's like, that's how I realize it should feel. When I go through those phases where it's like you're fighting, you feel like you're fighting almost and stuff. That's when you kind of like, and I'm getting better at recognizing those times. That's when you got to just take the foot off the gas. It's tough to do, but all right, so I think I'm going to dip because basically, really, there's nothing else to do. I got in gold on the stream earlier at the beginning. I don't want to add an additional long. I'm already long. Two things, eBay and Roku. They're both up and very nicely. I think they're both more than halfway, or just about. Roku is almost halfway of the target. It was, you can say halfway, probably a little bit. eBay is beyond halfway of the target, so you can make the argument, move the stop loss up. I could. I'm just going to leave it for now. And the stop loss is so tight as it is. I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to move it. You can move to break even and then play that game, yeah. But we could also, potentially roll over from here, back test the breakout, and still be fine because that's eBay's kind of like MO. But I'm going to leave it for now and let it do its thing. Gold, we're chilling. We got in at I got to check what my entry is on gold. I'm up $20. Okay. I got in at 25.40, so we're up $4, I guess, on the so I got in at 25.40. Here's the trade on Trade Locker, $23. I'm up 24, almost 25. Okay, up 25 on it, but target is this. We're risking 215 to make 382. That's the trade on gold. So that's it. I mean, not much else to do. I just don't think I don't see anything. The only day trade setup that made potential sense would be Tesla. Problem is, it's not the strongest stock of the day, and it's got some pretty decent resistance up around 235. So I probably would leave it alone. There's no need. And that setup is not bad. It's not bad. So if it was beautiful, I'd be more interested. But I'm going to dip. Hope everyone has a great rest of your Thursday and a great Friday. I'm going to be out of here. I'm not going to be here Friday, so I'll be back on Monday for Power Hour. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Power Hour, Tuesday, Thursday for the market open. Peace. Enjoy the weekend. See you next time.